Hello, Jess. Welcome back. How's your life been? You been all right?
I just need to sleep, but I think after a good 24 hours, I'll be up and ready to go.
That's right. It's she's back. She's recovered, and we are on for The Fall Guy. It's more of a Mama K movie, but I guess Jess and I are gonna do our best on this one.
I really thought it was Fall Boy, and then I was
Boy.
like, oh, it's like Fallout Boy. So.
I believe it was. Most of the things you stumble with is generally you're mashing it up with something from our childhood, so that makes more sense. Fall Guy. I've seen the trailers for it. It had the cheesy songs, and it had the rom-com action element. It's Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt, and it's action stunts and rom-com. So that's what it looks like. Did you have any expectations going in, Jess?
I don't even remember seeing a trailer. I think Karen texted me a week or two ago saying that she saw it, and then Kyle said his brother saw it, so we should go see it. And I was like, all right, Karen said it was funny, let's go. So I really went into it blind.
There you go. Karen stamp of approval, blind. I didn't know if I got ads on my TikTok for it. I know that's your main source of news these days.
No,
so
I actually didn't get. I don't think I got any TikTok ads for this one.
It's interesting. That means they weren't advertising to whatever algorithm world you're in. That's not what they wanted to. You're not.
Well, it's like an action comedy, so yeah, it's not the TikToks that I watch.
That's true. That checks out. Where did my thing go here? After leaving the business 1 year earlier, battle-scarred stuntman Colt Seavers springs back into action when the star of a big studio movie suddenly disappears. As the mystery surrounding the missing actor deepens, Colt soon finds himself ensnared in a sinister plot that pushes him to the edge of a fall more dangerous than any stunt. 82% on Rotten Tomatoes with the critics, 87 with the audience, some pretty good scores. 73 Metacritic, 7.2 on IMDb. So upper middle to decently high, especially for a action rom-com. Directed by David Leitch, who has directed other big movies before: Atomic Blonde, the second Deadpool movie, Hobbs and Shaw, and what was the most Bullet Train from a year or two ago. Mama K and I, big fans of Bullet Train. He's produced some movies. He's a former stuntman, and so this is a passion project. Stuntman passion project. And if you haven't seen The Fall Guy in theaters, that's all the preamble I guess you really need. And we're going to.
So your mom didn't see it?
No, she didn't see it, and otherwise she'd be on here right now. But
yeah. So what made you see it? Just the fact that I said I saw it?
Literally, just the fact that you saw it, and I actually that is because we're gonna do next up is Furiosa, which I'm exceptionally excited for. And we're not going to do Planet of the Apes because no one else really cares about that. And honestly, I don't even care that much about it. It looks interesting, but there's just not other big stuff. I would have passed this one over, but I like Bullet Train a lot, so I was like, I'll do a David Leitch film. And your theater, before we go, your theater experience. You said you saw a couple people. I saw this just today. This is a couple weeks after it's come out, and I was by myself. Nobody was there.
Wait, were you really the only one in the theater?
The only one, yeah. I mean, I saw it at
I love when that happens.
An afternoon show. I enjoy. I either like alone or packed, and I hate when it's like the worst is when it's like 6 and like 2 are bad, and then the other 2 or 3 are spread out, and so you have to like share the pain silently with the good people while the 2 horrible people mess everything up. That's kind of the worst. But this was empty. What did you guys see it with?
I think we saw it Saturday night, so it was probably a quarter filled.
Quarter filled. Okay, that's not
too bad. It was one of the smaller theaters too. I think it only had like 5 rows or 6 rows.
All right, one more thing before we go into trailers. Did you see any of the? There's like multiple Channing Tatum.
Channing
Films.
Tatum. Two Channing Tatum films.
2 Channing Tatum. There's one directed by Zoe Kravitz where they like get drunk on an island. And then there's
I know,
one...
I was like, that's his wife. He totally got him the job.
Oh, really? Zoe Kravitz Channing Tatum? Didn't know.
Yeah.
See, these are the things that the women in my life know. I do not know these things. I haven't know. And then, what was the other one? It was Scarlett Johansson and Channing Tatum faking the moon landing. Gotta say, I wish that looked good, but I don't think it's gonna be good. It looks kind of annoying.
Yeah, I haven't. It's crazy because he stopped acting, maybe, or at least not as much for a while, and now he's like, all right, gotta get more money or gotta get my life back or something.
Maybe it was the strike. He was supposed to have one and then the next, but instead it all got jumbled, so now they're all coming. He's got 2 coming out in the same week or whatever it is. I don't know.
That could be.
And then I saw Twisters, the trailer for Twisters with
Remind me what that is.
Sam Rockwell. It's a bunch of hicks in the Midwest, and there's tornadoes going around. And like, we got to drive into the tornadoes.
Oh, okay. I remember. It's all about weather. I remember the trailer.
Oh my god! See, this is what I missed. Oh yes, the trailer all about weather. That's just a very funny way to describe the trailer of Twisters. It's based on a 80s action comedy something. I've never seen it. Nicole's seen it. She says it's good.
Oh really?
Yeah. And the other one was Despicable Me, which I've never seen. There's like 15 of them.
Yeah. I actually haven't seen any of the Despicable Me's either.
I think I saw one of them on during the COVID years, but yeah, I was like, oh, no, I don't think so. I'm a Pixar guy, unfortunately. Colt Seavers, Hollywood stunt performer. He works as a stunt double for a famous actor, Tom Ryder. It's like the big, I don't know, Tom Cruise. You can use your imagination. And he is severely injured at the beginning of the film when a stunt goes wrong. His cameraman girlfriend, Jody, is there for when it happens. And we cut to 18 months later, and Colt's washed up. He's now a valet for like a Mexican restaurant. And his former girlfriend, Jody, is now doing quite well. She is directing her first big feature, a sci-fi action epic. What was it called? Metal Storm. Very fun. Her first big film, and he gets a call out of the blue from this agent, Gail Meyer, this piece of shit. Nobody likes your agent, Gail Meyer, who's Tom's agent. And he's like, "Oh, Colt, we need you back for this movie. You were specifically asked by Jody. She wants you back." And he's like, "I don't know. I'm gonna hesitate." And then he comes back. Obviously, he's gonna come back as Jody. And then you learn, oh, Jody didn't want him there. So like, oh, what's going on? What's going on here? And then he gets wrapped up in a whole big plot, and it gets really convoluted. But you find out why it's called The Fall Guy. Very funny. Anyway, The Fall Guy. Jess, what did you think of this film?
So this really isn't my kind of movie, just because it looks stupid. I really don't do like stupid, silly movies, and it's action, which also isn't my genre, but I do like Ryan. I do really like Emily, so I was like, all right, I'll give it a try. Oh. And I mean, it was stupid, but not as stupid as Argyle. Like Argyle is just painfully stupid. Or Beekeeper, that was just painfully stupid.
You're gonna have a really juicy bottom 5 this year.
Yeah, this was watchable, and I agree. This was kind of fun, so I don't regret watching it. I think it actually was cool, and again, if there were any other top actors other than those two, I don't think it would have been worth it, but I like watching them together.
I did not hate this. I was kind of okay with it. I was watching
Yeah.
I didn't just not hate it for the first half hour or so. I was like, oh man, I really liked it. I was like, the trailers, I was with you. This is the part of the Venn diagram where you and I overlap, and I think our other co-hosts might like these kind of movies more, but like, I thought it looked stupid as hell. I was like, this is going to be terrible.
This would be an easy movie where it's like, I'm going to skip it. I probably won't even watch it when it's streaming. I can just easily do without it.
Yeah, this is the one, like, yes, exactly. Like, or streaming, throw it on, whatever. Or, like, if someone else had it on at their house, I'd be like, whatever, that's fine. But, like, I would never... This is not a movie I would seek. But, like, first 20 minutes, like... And I'll explain why in the filmmaking techniques and why I think it worked. But I was really surprised. It is not without its problems. It's not perfect. It's way too long. This is a 2 hour and 7 minute movie.
So Karen actually did say that too. She said it could have been 20 minutes shorter, and
Karen's
I agree with
her. 100% correct. Once again, Karen killing it with her commentary. Gotta bring her on again. The invite's open. Next time she sees something she really likes, let me know, because I would. I need her thoughts. But it's what, like, as I was thinking the same thing. Like, I was really enjoying it strong. I was like 4 out of 5 stars up till like, I don't know, the hour 20 part, and I'm like, okay, we're getting close. But then they drop another plot point, and I'm like, oh no, this means we have another thing we have to do. We have another whole 20 minutes of thing we have to do. I'm like, no, we're supposed to be wrapping up right now. This is not supposed to be like time for the next thing. Like, come on. Like, and I don't know, as far as like the mystery of the plot, were you following and like hope and like kind of figuring out the mystery? Were you surprised by the twists and turns we take?
I really didn't care about the plot, like what happened in the future, what kind of twists and turns. Like, I really do think this movie is just for the moment, like just for the fighting in the moment, the outrageous outfits, like the dialogue. I really didn't care if there was a mystery or who killed who or what. I think it was more just like a fun watch to be present.
I think it works better like that too, because this is a stunt guy. So when I'm watching the beginning, this is a stunt guy director who's like a celebrating stunts in a movie. The first minute and a half is just a montage of all of those action scenes in movies where like someone's running across a thing or falling in a thing. It's the stunt people, but like the person's, you can't see their face exactly because it's not the real actor. And like, oh, it's like celebrating those moments. It's really getting you into the juice of what we're going to be doing. And like that first opening 5 minutes is like very charmed. I like all the setup between our two, the elevator and the when he actually gets on the suspension that first time and it's creaking. I'm like, look at this. I'm believing in this. From the trailers, I was getting such a cheesy bad vibe, and I know you didn't see the trailers, but it was not like that. At least not most of it. It was just too long later on.
One thing I thought was really funny is these characters are both just immature, generally, and it's funny because you'd think when I explain this movie to you, you'd think it'd be with a bunch of like 20-year-olds or early 20-year-olds, but like these characters are in their 40s. I just thought that was a little funny.
Well, just that the crux of the whole thing is just like this cutesy misunderstanding. Just like,
yeah,
you didn't call me. Like, you should have called me.
You didn't call me. And then he was like, oh, I was being a grump. I was feeling sorry for myself. I broke my back. Like,
and that's the whole thing.
It just seems so immature. Just kind of, even like a teenage thing or like a early 20s thing. And then these guys are just full on adults.
Is it possible just that perhaps maybe not everyone is there, you know? Maybe a lot of adults walk amongst us still with this mentality of little childish, oh, like, this is how I can't say how I felt in that time. Like, I just was insecure in my moments. Like, I don't know, maybe that's how some adults
totally
really
agree.
are.
Like, it's definitely possible, but just a general theme, it just seems like a little mismatch for, I don't know, the actors. I mean, I like that they chose them because they're good at acting and I love watching them, but
they're
it just seems a little funny. Yeah.
They're like I was picturing other people in this. I'm like, it is like good, like I like the direction in this and I like our two leads, and then I'm like, all the writing stuff, which is usually much more my stuff. I like clever writing. The writing in this is like, it's, you know, the tete in between the characters is funny, but like the actual plot is like, to your point, you don't care. It's so convoluted and like, who cares? Like, I don't care about what that lady's running around doing this whole movie, drinking her Diet Coke. Like, I do love my Diet Coke, but that's just not what I'm interested in. And this the plot is so. Did you get why he is the fall guy, or like why it's the fall guy? Did you get like with that twist game where you're like, oh, that's nice, or no?
Not whatever. Because he fell and broke his back, and the other guy, like...
Because someone who takes, like, when you are blamed for a crime you did not commit, because that's the whole thing, is and we're in spoilers, Tom Ryder and his agent are trying to pin the murder of that guy, the accidental murder of that guy on him, so he's taking the fall. He is the fall guy for the crime, and that's why he's a stuntman, so he falls. But then also he is the fall guy. I get it. It's like a. I know you don't like that kind of humor, just that's
punny or I think punny is probably the right word.
Punny, yeah, that's the cool humor.
I also think Melissa McCarthy should have been the boss. Like,
oh, you wanted someone more cartoony and ridiculous.
Yeah, because she definitely gives evil villain. Like, she's got those eyebrows there, but I think it should have been Melissa McCarthy or something like that.
I was thinking of the what's her name? The Joan Cusack, the principal from School of Rock.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, I guess that kind of was like her, but...
The whole time I was watching, I'm like, I know this lady. Where is she from? And then I had to Google it in theater. I'm like, oh, she's from Ted Lasso. I watched one season of that since it was, like, blowing up during COVID, and I didn't think it deserved all the hype that everyone said about it.
I'll say, you just stuck around for the one season, right? Because I think you were saying that on one of our catch-ups. You were like, Ted Lasso, not that good.
Yeah.
Everyone says seasons 1 and 2 good, but I guess not even season 1. Dude, what I appreciate about this, they had a good drug scene in a movie, because usually I hate drug scenes because they're so ridiculous. It's like, oh,
wait, the one when they were in the club?
Yeah, I like that scene because usually I'll explain why. Like, usually I don't like drug scenes because it's too like oh, we're tripping out and like, oh, here he's running into things. They actually kind of lean on it too much later on with the unicorn stuff. Like, I get what they're doing with the device, but it's too much. But in that specific scene, I like that he's losing it, and then his stuntmanness kicks in. He uses his like memory of being a stuntman to beat the guys, and he uses like little like stuntman tricks. Like later on, he does it with the gas, and he spits the flame. And when he gets hit by the car, and he knows how to roll, he puts the mouth guard in. Those are like the parts of the movie where I'm like appreciating. Oh, he cared to make the move. Like he used the premise. The premise is I'm a stuntman, and I put in this crazy situation, so I will use my stuntmanness to get out of it. He's not just I'm just Ryan Gosling, a random everyman. Like he actually uses his abilities. Did you pick up on his things?
Wait, what's one example?
Like a good one is towards the end when they're pouring gasoline on him and he catches some in his mouth. And
he spits it out at him.
Right, like, he knows in like a scene in like a movie, like, oh, how would you make a fireball in a movie? Like he uses his knowledge of film nerd and like being filmed and like, how would you make a stunt work? Like getting hit by the car too. Like he knows how to roll and like he puts his mouth guard in.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
I love those attention to detail. It's not just like random he's strong because he's a stuntman. It's that he actually uses his like thoughts. He like thinks like a stunt. He actually thinks like a person who would do that, as opposed to something lazy where it's just like, whatever, this scene, and then whatever, I don't know, we'll have him talk to Emily Blunt on the phone and whatever, split screen, I don't know, like there's just some like they could have been lazier and they weren't. That was nice.
I see what you mean, but for all the fighting that this guy did, like he should have been fine with that backache. Like when they're like, oh, he broke his back, he's done for, and the next scene he's just totally ripped and he's like completely fine, and I was like, I thought he was going to look like Adam Sandler. Like, I thought he was just going to look washed up. And I'm like, no, he looks like he's ready to go in another movie.
No, he was like, oh, he gets all the free hoagies he wants. I'm like, well, then he should look like out of shape. And then like we should watch. Then again, I guess we can't watch 20 minutes of him training to get back in shape because the movie's already too long. Like the movie, I think there was even more movie too, I think. Because remember that one?
Yeah, that didn't make that much sense about how he broke his back and was completely immobile, and then we see him, he's just ripped and ready to go.
No, and it's like a 10 or 15 minute transition, and it's so quick. But then I feel like there's so much. Maybe I hate the I don't like miniseries, but like I feel like he had too much content here because there's that woman who has the samurai sword. That's the girlfriend that he fights with.
Oh yeah, that was stupid.
Yeah, like
in that house.
Yeah, like I don't need that was a scene because we needed a fighting scene, but like that was just more red herring stuff to keep the plot going. And then like Stephanie Shu's in this. She was the big bad in Everything Everywhere All at Once. I know you didn't love the movie, but like she's in this for like one or two scenes. She's like the agent's friend or whatever, and she's in it for like one scene, and that's like an actress you like cast on purpose. So I was like, okay, there must have been a bunch of scenes like a bunch of like the mayor or Gale scenes that got cut. So I'm like,
probably
if they cut like they had to have cut like 20 or 30 minutes, and it's still over 2 hours.
It's still long.
And I'm so whoa, like that's like you're making an action comedy here. You are not making a sci-fi epic. You are making a action comedy. Should be an hour 40. Like this is
like I agree with you. The end part where it's the back and forth of like now you showed up and then trying to like get the confession on tape, like that. That was definitely long.
It was so long. Like why couldn't? Because like we get the reveal. Like oh, you've been roped into this thing as the fall guy from the beginning. We were trying to trick you into doing this job because we want you to take the blame for Tom Ryder again. And so then, by the time he realizes it, though, it's like an hour 50 in. And I'm like, dude, this should be the end. Like, we wasted time somewhere along the way. Maybe that scene where they were talking in split screen was too long. Or maybe, I don't know, we could have cut an action scene. I don't really know what we would have done differently. But we clearly wasted too much time somewhere. But then again, I do like...
Although I do need more time of the club and the guy with the tattoos on his head. I don't know why, but I love that guy.
Dude, he's so... And if you ever see John Wick 4, there's a club scene, and he's the guy in it, and he's in like a fat suit. And it's the best scene. It's the best scene in the movie. And he's playing like that. He's like, I'm a scummy club guy. I'm like, oh yeah, fuck yeah! Like the creepy stuff's going on, and you're like, yeah, this is like, give me more of this interesting things. Like honestly, for fighting movies, you might even enjoy John Wick. But yeah, I wanted more of the club scenes, more of the or not more, just different. I guess just a different vibe. Like I like that kind of like fun underground stuff. And then when we had to do so much plotty stuff, it's just too complicated. It's too much complicated. That's why it takes so long.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. But there were, let's see, if I had a couple more.
Did you actually write notes?
No, I did actually write it. I wrote notes as this was going because I was like actually enjoying this one. From the beginning, I was like, oh no, I might love this movie because I was really liking the first 20 or 30 minutes. And then it was going and it was getting a little like that Winston Duke, the guy who plays like the best friend on set, the big guy. And he's like, oh, he's cracking jokes and he's got movie quotes all the time. And I was like, like I could see myself 5 or 10 years ago really loving that character, but I'm just like, I'm bored. And then like, and then it keeps going, and they're like, oh, I like the guy in the hotel where he's like that weird nervous guy who's like, oh, you want to go to you need to go to the room with the fruit platter or whatever he says, and then he's like,
oh yeah,
it's on the fruit platter's on ice, and then he tries to scan it, the fucking key doesn't work, so he has to nervously rescan the key. I don't know about you, but that is the kind of humor for me. I like weird everyday, like, we're trying to be so cool right now, but then we're fucking it up and being like kind of like human with it.
But one part I thought was dumb, like this whole thing happened was because Gail was over budget. Like I thought that was silly.
Is that really the reasoning? I thought this whole thing was because Tom killed that guy. Like that's the whole reason.
Well, I think it was also part of that too, but I thought it started with like, oh, they're over budget. She wants to switch them out. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
I think that was her cover. I thought that was her cover.
Oh, that was just her cover.
Yeah, as like her bullshit. Like, oh, like because the only reason she calls Colt in is because she knows he's all washed up, and then he has a crush on the director, and then the director doesn't know he's going to be there, but he thinks she wants to be there, so she can like make it. You know, it's a whole. As soon as you see it from and the thing is, like when I saw the trailers and I saw it was called The Fall Guy, and I saw it was a crime thing, immediately my movie brain literally went, "Oh, he must get framed for a crime." Even in the trailer, it's like. It looks like, oh, it's a movie where he gets framed for a crime. And the whole thing is they don't actually reveal that in the movie until an hour 50 in. And then I like remember, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. But like, you never really tricked me. Like I knew, based on the trailer, I knew that. So like how, like, I understand this was supposed to be like a big like, oh, it was a trick this whole time. Like it was a setup. But like, I don't feel that way at the end. I'm just like,
no.
I don't feel like,
I'm saying anything about the plot isn't really like, wow worthy. It's just that happened and that happened and that happened.
Yeah, it's more of a enjoying the ride and the jokes when they work.
Yeah, exactly.
And the scenes when they're like you said, like the club scene when they're trying some cool camera work, working with the music, whatever, just trying things. But Metal Storm, how's this movie end? They catch him on tape. He blows himself up with pyrotechnics. Tom does. Metal Storm comes out with Jason Momoa instead of Tom, and everyone's happy. Colt and Jody back together. Camera.
Oh yeah, I did see Jason Momoa.
Yeah, Jason
Momoa
was
in there for a second.
Uncredited as the guy who replaces him at the end. I'm seeing this the budget was 125 to 150 million, and this currently is sitting at 128 box office. That is not great. That is scraping by. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, but there's also a lot of other good movies out right now that people would rather see.
It is too expensive. I mean, 125 to 150 is pretty expensive for like, I don't know. It's tough. That's almost Marvel numbers. So then I guess inflation. Yeah. Do you have any other points for The Fall Guy, Jess?
I can't. Again, this is an easily forgettable movie. I saw it on this weekend, and I'm still struggling to remember a lot of the details.
I saw it a couple hours ago, and I'm like,
yeah, it's fresh in your mind.
I know. I was like, it's better. It's much better than I was expecting. But even then, it is still not like a memorable movie. It's like a much better like an experience than I was expecting. I was expecting a schlock, and it was not. I
guess my question was towards the end where they had that big final scene. Mm-hmm. Was Ryan Gosling could only do that scene, and then Tom couldn't just because he's not as skilled.
Well, like the driving scene with the
I think I was confused at that part. Like, why did they say like he had to do it? Or they tricked him doing it when he thought he couldn't.
Oh, why did Tom have to be in the car with Ryan Gosling?
Yeah.
I think he did. Oh, they were just rushing him. They're just like, oh, quick, get him in there. And it's like, and Emily Blunt's the director, so she can kind of make everyone go before anyone realizes what's happening. And then by the time they realize what's happening, they're gonna get the confession out of him, or we're gonna go for it. You know, like it's like,
okay,
yeah, like only Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling know what's going on in there. Everyone else thinks it's just regular movie time, and they're the only two who are like, no, we're gonna catch Aaron Taylor Johnson on the mic and get him. We're gonna get him. No one else knows that. Yeah, it was just a little trickery, but again, took too long to do that and too confusing. Clearly, because you've seen a lot of movies and you were confused, and so there's clearly other people who must have been confused because you made your movies too confusing for action rom-com. So just dial it back. You're funny enough. Just dial it back a little. But did you hit the note enough? Are we going to recommend The Fall Guy, Jess?
I think I will. I enjoyed watching it. I didn't hate it. I didn't walk out thinking I wasted my time. Like, I thought it was good. So, I'll give it a thumbs up.
Yeah, this is like a classic 3.5 out of 5s for me. Like, it could have hit a 4 if we had a haircut. But I was expecting less than a 3. I was expecting a 2.5, maybe.
It's better when your expectations are low and then you're pleasantly surprised.
And that's what and I agree with that. That's exactly that's the direction this took. When I was like, if you would guess if we had played a little Rotten Tomatoes game and he was like, "I'll guess the score," I would have said this would have been a 58 audience or critic, and then like a 78 audience, and it's in the 80s for both. And after watching it, I'm like, a little high, just a little bit high, maybe 70s.
I agree.
Maybe 70s.
I thought it seemed like a good 70s, maybe high 60s movie. I didn't think it was 80s potential.
After seeing this, I would have guessed, before seeing this based on the trailers, I would have guessed it came out at a 58. After seeing it, I would have been like, that's like a 77. Like, that's like pretty good. And then audience, I would have guessed was like an 80 something, because I was like, I don't see anyone hating this. I'm like, this is good enough for all the boxes for most people. But yeah, a moderately pleasant 2 recommends. It's solid enough for The Fall Guy. So we've got, I'm so excited for Furiosa. I know that's not, action movies are not your thing, so you're not going to want to see that. But man, if you like action movies, Mad Max Fury Road, it's on Max now. That's the first, not the first, I guess it's technically the 4th of the series, but it's the newest, the latest one, and it's one of my favorite action movies of the 21st century. Not all practical, lots of practicals. And Furiosa, that's going to be in theaters, and if you have things to recommend to us, we're going to have slots opening up in the summer, because summer movies, typically not what we do. I mean, there's some horror movies out there. Super good. I was going to say,
I'll probably see Abigail.
Oh, Abigail. I thought that already came and went.
Did it already went? Again, I'm a little late to the game. I'm seeing Challengers this weekend. So
yeah. Challengers. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts on Challengers. I can see you loving or hating Challengers, but I think you'll have a strong reaction to the Challengers. But I don't know which, because you're hard to predict. So, but I think you'll have a reaction. So, Films with the Women in My Life on Facebook. Reach out to me on Instagram. I'm Brennan_podhost. You can email the show, filmswiththewomen@gmail.com, or find us on YouTube. Just search Films with the Women in My Life. And that's the channel you can find not all, but a lot of our episodes. All right. Thank you, Jess, for being on for The Fall Guy. And welcome back. I'm glad to have you back.
Glad to be back.
Until next time, this is Brennan signing off, saying thanks for listening. Enjoy your movies.
Thanks for listening to Films with the Women in My Life. If you enjoyed being a listener in our life, please rate and subscribe on Apple Podcasts or on your favorite podcast app. Keep up with the latest from the show on Instagram at Brennan_podhost, on Facebook at Films with the Women in My Life, and on Twitter at FilmsWomenPod. Finally, you can email the show with questions and suggestions at filmswiththewomen@gmail.com. Original music for the show was created by Ian Burke and Chris Iwanek. Original artwork created by Nicole D'Alessio. This show is produced by Brennan Snyder. Thank you again for listening and enjoy your movies.